This might be the biggest hear me out video on my entire channel, and trust me, I've made a few. I believe that Stranger Things is a prequel to another story, a very popular story that many people know. Some would call it a kids movie, but it's far darker than you think. Stranger Things has a secret sequel, y'all. I have proof that it is true. Coraline is a secret sequel to Stranger Things. Don't leave! Don't leave my video ever. I know this is a stretch. Coraline, what the hell? This is a animated film that came out in 2009 based on a children's novella. Zaffy, what the fuck are you talking about? The Duffer Brothers didn't have this in mind. Listen, maybe not, because the Duffer Brothers are idiots, but I believe they are inherently connected to one another, and it all goes back to one singular entity, the mother. Ready? You ready for this? Here we go. Listen, I've connected many dots that aren't there. I have made a whole video about how Willy Wonka is a secret Satan worshiper. Alright? A devil worshiper of the highest order. And people agreed with it, okay? Fuck off. This all goes back to mothers. Scariest mothers we've ever seen in fiction. This is a big thing for me, alright? I was afraid of my own mother randomly in a dream I had where she was chasing me with a knife or some shit. So, naturally, a movie like Coraline, with maybe the scariest mother in fiction, would appeal to me and a lot of people. What is Coraline about? Ask yourself this. Coraline is about this girl and her family who moved to Oregon, Ashland. Keep that in mind. This new house. The problem with Coraline is that she's bored. She's trying to find things to do, alright? Her family, not exactly the most exciting parents in the world. But she finds a gateway to another world. A world that seems to be an alternate version of their world. A parallel version of her world. Where her parents in this world, the other parents, are like high energy, really fun loving versions of the parents she has at home. It's almost as if this world is better than the one she came from. As the story goes along, you start to notice weird things. The buttons on the eyes, the weird behavior, how controlling this other mother truly is. And then when she finds out the truth that her other mother is a spider-like fucking entity that wants to feed on the souls of children and take out their eyes and put buttons in place of their eyes, yeah, shit goes down. Her mother is what's known as a beldam, a crazy kind of witch. She takes kids, plucks buttons into their eyes, harvests and feeds on their souls. They are now marked victims, or dolls to her, victims of her everlasting spider web. Now, the movie ends with Coraline escaping, closing the gate completely to the other side. But did she actually escape? Because in one of the final scenes, when Coraline looks outside, you see the backyard, and you see it being the shape of this face of what people say is the face of the other mother from the parallel world. So is Coraline really escaping? Is this world really hers, or is this just like a parallel world that looks different? Now, I think she did escape, but the other mother's still out there alive and waiting. Waiting for a kid to just pass over to the other side and give her what she wants. Now, here's my theory. Because the other mother in this film isn't someone who wants to escape to the other side despite having all these gateways open, right? She wants to feed on souls. But my theory is that this chick is not a beldam. I think she actually is trying to bridge the two worlds and is taking kids' souls to do it, to power up to do it, to do just that, to connect them. I don't think she's a witch. I don't think she's a witch like Coraline and the fairy tale is based on says. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, despite the writers of the original story and the Coraline movie saying so, I'm saying they're incorrect about their own lore. She's not a witch. She is the Mind Flayer. Oh, the Duffer Brothers fucked up the Stranger Things ending so badly. This is what it's come to, man. This is what I'm fucking doing with my life. But it's true! And I'm gonna tell you exactly how, so don't leave, ever! Now, again, Zaffy, this is just a story that's based on a fairy tale. It has no connection to Stranger Things. The Duffer Brothers made this shit in 2016. They had no idea that there was no connection to this. Well, I do think that somebody in the writers department in Netflix said, you know what, we're gonna tie these two together, right? I believe that the other mother in Coraline is a weakened and adapted form of the Mind Flayer, who looks the way she does because of a very specific reason, okay? Let's look at the timeline of events. 1987 is when Stranger Things ended in the canon, right? That's when the finale took place and everything ended, right? 11 died. The exotic matter that was holding the Upside Down together was destroyed. The bridge from the Upside Down to the Abyss, ruined. It's a wormhole, right? The bridge got destroyed. Unlike the Duffer Brothers and Stranger Things saying that the Mind Flayer died, again, I'm telling them they're incorrect. The Mind Flayer didn't die because the Mind Flayer's true form is not a big-ass spider monster kaiju that can be hurt with flames and fire. That was never what his true form is. His true form was more of a psionic shadow being made up of particles that can possess people, that exists in the ether as this cloud of particles, okay? That's what his true form really is. He's an eldritch being. He can't be killed by bullets. The fuck? So he waited in the Abyss, Dimension X, while the wormhole connecting it to Earth was destroyed. He waited and chose another place to maybe go to. There was an opening, a window, in a different part of the U.S., not in Indiana Hawkins. He waited for a window to open in another place, like Oregon. Why Oregon? Oregon is the site of many, many experiments. Stockpile of weapons, chemical weapons specifically. Nuclear production here. There was a lot of scientists doing research into weaponry, all right? There was human experiments back in the 70s, in the Cold War era. You gotta think that the remnants of these tests still exist because they never go away. There's probably underground testing happening here. Remember, Stranger Things is based on shit that went down with human experiments and all that kind of stuff. What else takes place in Oregon? Oh yeah, the story of Coraline. I think humans made contact with the other side again. I believe that another gateway was opened. Another upside down was formed as a result of this rift being caused between worlds. How, you may say? There's no 11. There's no telepathic people that we know of. But in Oregon, something went down to cause this. To cause an opening. Maybe somebody that got out of the finale of the Stranger Things, that exited the abyss and the upside down, maybe the Mind Flayer got to somebody. Because remember, he has a particle form that can corrupt people from the inside. He can secretly possess them without them knowing. So maybe someone like Mike moved to Oregon to become a writer, while all of his friends moved away, you know? And as a result of this, he grew an obsession with trying to bring back 11. Because 11 offed herself, but he still thinks she's still in the upside down. She's still somewhere in the ether, and he's trying to get her back by opening another gateway. Or the general that we've never heard from in the last 30 minutes of the Stranger Things finale that seemed to have disappeared for some fucking reason, useless ass character. Maybe she decided Hawkins is a lost cause. I'm just gonna go somewhere where they are conducting experiments, and maybe they found a breakthrough. So she went to Oregon, and they managed to open a gate somehow. I don't know how. I have no idea. I tried to figure out a way how, but they just did. And by doing that, they opened up a new upside down. However, this upside down is different. Why? There's a new approach 2 decades later. See, the Mind Flayer's been waiting and planning in the abyss, waiting for some moron to open up another gateway, another upside down for him to go into. But the Mind Flayer says, I can't do things the way I've been doing it. I've been trying to force myself into their world. All right? And they're able to come into the upside down, this disgusting, decrepit looking place. I need to stop making the upside down and myself look threatening and disgusting and scary. We need to reshape this reality, or at least reshape it in the minds of the people, because he has psionic abilities. He can kind of manipulate people into thinking that the reality around them is different. So while the upside down in nature is this, it's a reflected version of our world, but way more disgusting. He's like, I need a better looking mirror. We're going to make the upside down beautiful now. We're going to redesign it, and I'm going to redesign myself. I'm going to take a proper form in the minds of all the people that come here. So we're going to make it all lavish and beautiful so that any kid that comes here wants to stay here. It's like a wonderland paradise for them, right? So the key difference is this other world in the Coraline story is very small and curated. The upside down is this raw, feral, expanding nightmare. But you know what's funny? In the Stranger Things show, despite it being raw and expanding, it changes. In the show, the upside down is the scariest in season 1, and then becomes less and less scary and more inhabitable as the seasons go on. It's almost like the Duffer Brothers didn't know what the fuck they were doing towards the end of it. But it gets less and less scary, less and less foggy and echoey, and with all that snowflakes falling, that becomes less relevant in the final few seasons. So you gotta think the upside down itself is adapting and becoming more and more habitable. Remember, the military started up a whole fucking base in the upside down. They would never have been able to do this in season 1. It's like the upside down is changing to be better looking, more inhabitable. So it's only natural that the Mind Flayer would say the natural next step is to make this as beautiful as possible, forming into a prettier reflection so that he can continue his work. Not by forcing himself onto our world looking like this and trying to forcefully possess people. No, he's like, I'm going to open up gateways and have people come to me and have them seduced into this place. So now it's no longer just a reflection that looks disgusting, it's a superior world for them. And on top of that, I'm gonna make myself look as human for humankind as I can, because he knows the kind of people he's dealing with now. He knows that kids being greeted by something that's humanoid rather than this giant spider is better. Even though his real form is spider-esque, he is now psionically shapeshifted into this new being, rather than looking like this shadow spider thing. But you know what's funny? His true form is still spider-esque. It's like Henry Krill's influence is not left. He likes the spider form. Even though he looks like a pretty woman now, he's still spider-esque when it really comes down to it. Think about it. Look at the way this creature is. The beldam, as they call it in the Coraline, the other mother, she's a literal fucking spider entity. A spider goddess. She can shapeshift, but her true nature and will is that of a spider. Remember that. Even though she looks like a pure pretty woman, her true nature is that of a spider. Look at the similarities between her and the Mind Flayer. The beldam holds nigh omnipotent power over the other world and is able to manipulate the universe into appearing as what she wishes. However, she cannot create things out of scratch, but rather recreate things that have already existed, twisting and changing them to suit her needs. The Mind Flayer doesn't create things. He's not a full-on omniscient god, right? But he corrupts things very, very well. He corrupts the nature of this entire verse that he's in. They're very similar entities, man, when it comes down to it. And they both target children. In Coraline, only children are preyable. Adults are like oblivious in the Coraline world. Exactly the same as Stranger Things. But the children in Stranger Things, they are psychically sensitive. That's why they are the ones being experimented on in the lab. They can open and close gates. There's a reason why Mind Flayer targets them. Because they're the easiest to corrupt. There are many adults in the show, Stranger Things, that are just oblivious. Like Mike's dad, Nancy's dad. He's just pathetic. He just sits around on a couch doing nothing, right? Like, look at him. He is the exact same archetype as Coraline's dad in the show. There are too many similarities here between stories, man. Both beings that are spider-esque from a different world that's a parallel to ours target children? Are you fucking kidding me? This is the same story, bro. And a lot of these kids are on their own now. On bikes, riding around because their fucking parents are oblivious. It's the same shit! It's the same shit! You have to believe me, motherfuckers! Now, Zaffy, what about the buttons? You think the Mind Flayer is taking out kids' eyes and sewing buttons on them? He has a obsession with eyes for souls? Mind Flayer doesn't do shit like that. Look, this is all symbolic. Don't think about the literal act. Eyes, by removing the eyes and replacing them with buttons, it removes individuality and sight. It forces a child to see only your world. That's what the Mind Flayer would want. The Mind Flayer's possession, similarly, when he possesses kids, they lose their autonomy. They speak in monotone. They share thoughts. Remember the Flayed in Season 3? Also, when Vecna, who basically influenced heavily by the Mind Flayer, by the way, when Vecna started killing kids in Season 4, what would happen? He would put their hands on their forehead, and in real life, their bodies would levitate up, their bones would crack, and their eyes would be the last to go. Their eyes would get punctured out. Why? It's very specific and for a reason, man. The eyes are the key to the soul. Both the Mind Flayer and the beldam know that because they're the same fucking being. And then, okay, why would the Mind Flayer leave keys? If he can come into our world willy-nilly, why would he leave keys? Well, for one, his ability to stay in our world only functions as a result of the gate staying open. He leaves little hints of himself because that's also what he did in the Stranger Things show. Why would he leave keys that can be opened? Why are there keys at all? Why are they shaped like keys? Doesn't seem like a upside down Mind Flayer aesthetic. Remember, he changes everything to look more human, normal, and pretty, right? The design of everything. It's all an illusion. He allows gateways to be open so kids can come in to the upside down. He's no longer forcing himself on our world. He's allowing kids to come to his world so it's easier to join their worlds together. The Mind Flayer did this shit too. What happened when Vecna found that stone in the cave? The Mind Flayer wanted a piece of his world to be left so that it can be a key to him. It's the same thing happening. A key to opening to a gateway where you get to meet your new mother who can take control of you. It's the same shit. And it's with a kid as well. Henry Kill was a kid when this happened, bruv. You need to believe me, it's all real. Now, Coraline escapes, right? And she closes the gates. So now the Mind Flayer, the mother, is withering away, hungry and waiting. She didn't die, though. Remember, a psionic being of particles. It just wants to exist in our world. It wants to join our worlds together and rule over it all. It doesn't need to feed on children. But children, being sacrificial lambs, are the ways that the gates are open wider and the ways that the worlds are connecting. That's always been the case in Stranger Things lore. In both these IPs, the adults dismiss the danger. Institutions fail the kids miserably. The children are the ones that must name the monster, understand its rules, defend themselves. And in both these fictional tales, the monster happens to be a spider-like entity in an abstract other world that's a parallel to ours, opening gates so the kids can come through. What? Coincidence? Now, is this a good theory? Or is this me coping about the fact that Stranger Things is done and it didn't have a good ending, so I'm trying to make a better one by living vicariously through a fucking another IP that has nothing to do with it? You could say that, but you're wrong. This is canon now. I don't give a fuck. That finale was dog shit, and the Mind Flayer's still alive. That's the biggest evidence of all this. How the hell would the Mind Flayer die? Nancy's shooting it with an AK? Hell no. Oh, Vecna died because they're tied together. As if the Mind Flayer needed Vecna to live in the first place, right? I've done my task today. They are connected, and I have proven it. Share this. You guys probably will think I'm a moron and an idiot and will dismiss me, but this is real. And if it's not real, we're gonna make it real. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to take over Hollywood. But the army must keep growing. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movies or favorite film theories in a community with like-minded individuals, join the Zafy Discord now. Link is in the description and the comment section as well. Join us. This movement is just beginning. We're taking over Hollywood, one coke line at a time.